Gourds in Astrology, created, directed, and presented by Reverend Dr. Dickie Joe Mullen. What a wonderful fall video reflection. In this video, Dr. Mullen talks about the many creative ways people have worked with gourds over the centuries.
This is Dickie Joe Mullen in Orlando, Florida, with some thoughts about gourds and astrology. Gourds and astrology, does that seem like a crazy combination of thoughts? Well, it really isn't, because astrology is all about everything, and gourds are about gardening. And one of the most interesting and widely used applications of astrology relates to plants and planting. Let's take a look at all of my mysterious visitors here. Each autumn, their presence brings an aura of the supernatural in the produce sections of grocery stores and to farmers' markets. They appear often heaped among the new harvest of apples or potatoes, or perhaps their closest relatives, melons, squash, and pumpkins. Almost like snowflakes, though, gourds are different. Each one seems to be truly unique, twisted into bizarre shapes, both mocking and resembling birds, fish, snakes, even gnomes and other creatures, striped in colors, ranging from green and brown, orange and yellow, to black and even purple and maroon. Covered in warty growths, gourds have a perennial appeal. Some are tiny, almost like berries. Others are beige. Visitors to a produce market here in Orlando can marvel at a permanent display of 4 long gourds. They're suspended along one wall, and each one is about 10 feet long. They look like beige-colored serpents crawling along the walls of the produce market. Gourds are among the most ancient of plants. Unsavory in flavor and scant in flesh, they're mostly inedible. Yet, ironically, they were the first crop ever to be domesticated throughout the ancient world, and they continue to be popular choices for home gardens and commercial farms today. Gourds, they've been grown for many thousands of years, cherished first for making utensils, then as musical instruments. We have a lovely musical instrument from Peru here. This can be played with a little kind of a spoon like this, kind of a rhythm instrument, and it's covered with the most exquisite artwork, wood burnt and then carved, all just on a gourd that had been dried. I think that one's particularly marvelous. And this little pumpkin is actually a gourd, and it has a little electric light that can go inside, and it's a pumpkin that's lasted for a number of years. It's always so sad when a beautiful pumpkin carved caves in, and this one won't as a gourd. This one looked like a bird. I found this one and turned it into a bird some years ago. This one is a very large gourd, and it's decorated with the tops of some 19th century moccasins. The leather had deteriorated, and then I saved the beadwork and turned it into some decorations. This is a musical instrument from a gourd grown in the South Pacific. And this is a chain, a gourd that's been in our family 70 years or so. I always remember it hanging up every autumn, along with some, it's got some other foliage here that's been dried. I don't know if foliage is the right word. I guess pine cones, and then also some seeds with a little bit of a loop. These are fresh gourds I'm trying to imagine what to do with, that just came on the market very recently, and I'm marveling at just the different shapes and the way they have their own personalities. So there are also soup ladles and water ladles that are made out of gourds that have been dried, kind of like the pumpkin, and shellacked. And Research has shown that they've been used by nearly all early cultures in the temperate and tropical time zones. The hard rind or shell of the fruit is remarkably strong and versatile. You can dry, cut, or carve it in different ways. Very early examples of Peru, where this beautiful instrument came from, go back to as long as 10,000 BC, dated by archaeologists. Gourds were fashioned into containers long before people knew how to use baskets or pottery. In Mexico, gourd fragments have surfaced in archaeological digs that go back to 7,000 BC. Recently, excavations of Native American sites near Gainesville, Florida, dated some gourd fragments to 11,000 BC. By the 3rd century BC, gourds were familiar in Greece. They're even mentioned in Hippocrates' writings for use as drinking cups. It's long been noted that gourds make the perfect canteen for hikers. Their porous skin acts like a refrigerator, allowing outer condensation to evaporate, therefore keeping the drink inside, fresh and cool. As society evolved over time, so did the use of gourds. The hard outer shell has been found surrounded with the top and bottom of silver, making a really elegant sipping cup. And these were found in archaeological sites in the Andes, presumably for drinking the mate tea that's so important to have at high altitudes. Rattles with the dried seeds inside have long been used as rhythm instruments. I have one right here with a little writing on it. I think this one came from the island. And there's a palm tree on it. It kind of reveals Key West. Well, it was the island, sort of. That this one was a little item that I picked up traveling. Birdhouses are another popular use for gourds. A large gourd like this one can have a hole cut carefully in the side. And I actually had one as a birdhouse for a while. That it deteriorated over time. Today, gourd art is sold at Native American powwows and art galleries, beautifully painted with decorations, mystical designs, wood-burning, crystals, and seashells. At Halloween, the artists offer jack-o'-lanterns fashioned from gourds, painted a bright orange, and carved with the traditional smile. Larger gourds can even be stood upright and turned into portable altars, a hole cut in the side, and it can be used to burn smudge and to set different sacred items out. And if you're born or living in Zone 7 and further south, just toss the gourds out into the yard and watch them grow and appear next year in different and fascinating sites. There are a lot of organizations that kind of perpetuate gourd art, and if you're interested in these intriguing and fascinating different gourds, look at the American Society of Gourd Artists. That's one excellent source. This is Dickie Jo Mullen in Orlando, Florida, with a little bit of a different twist on astrological gardening.